All right, fourth grade. So we are going to start our mandalas. So every project that we are doing this year is culturally based, and we're starting that with mandalas. The cool thing about mandalas, we have learned that they are used in a lot of different cultures, a lot of religions. And so this is a perfect way to start off our culturally based art projects. So let's talk a little bit about how we're going to get started, the materials that you're going to need. I am going to, in just a minute, show you a video where we are going to be making ours together. So I'm going to be giving you instructions. On your desk at this time, you either have or are getting passed out to you a square piece of paper and a CD. You will need those to get started on our project, and then beyond that, you are going to need a pencil. Okay, so make sure you have those three materials or wait patiently as they are getting passed out. And then we are going to get started making our mandalas focused on one, kind of that cultural piece and that we've learned about, and two, radial symmetry. Radial symmetry meaning it's the same all the way around, kind of like the ripples in a pond. They just keep coming from the center of that circle where the rock hit the water and expanding out. Everything's the same all the way around that circle, and our mandala is going to be exactly the same. All right, guys, so grab your materials and let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our paper and we are going to write our name on that paper. So I want you to grab your pencil and write your name and your teacher code. Once your name and teacher code is on it, we are going to take our paper and fold the paper in half. Now, it's a square, so it does not matter which way you fold it. It does not matter whether you fold it towards your name or with your name on the back right now. We are just going to fold our paper in half. I like to neatly line up my edges. Hold it down here at the top where it's folded. Take my finger in the middle, slide it down, and then slide my fingers on either side. That makes a nice neat fold so it's matched up. Once you have folded that paper in half, you're going to take your paper and fold it in half one more time. By doing this, you should make a small 6 by 6 inch square. Okay, so we have that folded. If you need help, all you need to do is raise your hand. Once you have finished folding that, please open your paper back up and turn it so your name is on the back. All right, so if you've done this correctly with me, you should have 4 equal squares on your paper. Those squares all meet at one central point. That is the exact middle of your paper, okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take the CD that I have placed on your desk for you, and I want you to place that CD so that the center where those 4 squares meet is directly in the middle of the whole of your CD, okay? Once you have done that, you are going to take your pencil. I am going to do this in Sharpie so that you can see, but you are going to use your pencil, and very neatly, I want you to trace around the CD. Don't let that CD move while you're tracing it, but go ahead and trace the CD. When you remove the CD, you should have a circle right in the middle of your paper. All right. All right, now that we have our CD traced, we are going to be making our kind of rows or, all right, so now that we have our initial circle drawn with our CD, and we will ultimately be gluing our CD down into the center there. But before we do that, we are going to actually use a compass to make the outer layers of our circle for our mandala. So the way that we are going to do that is by using a compass. A compass is a really awesome tool for art. in order to draw perfect circles. Now your compasses look like this. There is a lot going on here. So we're going to talk about how to use it. The first thing that you need to know is this little white circle will pivot around and allow you to move. The little brass ring, with this little golden ring, is what we are going to use to identify the center of our circle. So in this case, that brass ring needs to be placed directly on the corner where those 4 folds meet, okay? Because we know that's the middle of our paper. Then you are going to hold that piece of the compass down. We do not want that to move, all right? Then you can see all of these little holes along the side, okay? You're gonna notice that there looks to be like a little ruler along the side. On one side, we have the inches. You'll see the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the other end side, we have centimeters. So you'll see the numbers 0 through 10, right? Basically, that tells you what the diameter of your circle is gonna be. The diameter refers to how many inches or the length from one side of your circle to the other. So for instance, the size of our CD is that kind of at that 1.5 inch mark. So from here to here is that 1.5 inches, okay? So we're going to be using our numbers past the 1.5 or past that 3.5 on the centimeter side. Now, in order to make your circles, hold it down in the middle. Find where you want your next row to be, your next little circle to be, how wide. There is no specific size that you need to make. If you want your next circle to be really close, you're going to stick your pencil in one of these holes kind of close to your CD circle. If you want to make it fairly wide, you can come out here to one of our outer circles, okay? So I'm going to make a row that comes kind of right in the middle. I'm gonna put my pencil inside of this hole, not allowing this kind of white part to move. I'm gonna hold that down really tight. I'm gonna move my pencil around, okay? The big thing is don't let that white part that you're holding move. You're gonna notice I'm having to pick my hand up in order to get under where my wrist is, okay? Once that's done, you can see I've made that circle, okay? Now, if I want to make another one, I'm going to do the same thing, choosing a different circle. So I'm going to come out here to this one at the very end. That's going to be the largest circle I can make with this. Make sure that little brass ring is back in the center. And make that circle. So I have some circles here. The really awesome thing about these is you can also make smaller circles coming around. So remember, we're focusing on radial symmetry. It's going to be the same thing that we do in every ring. So for instance, if I make a circle here, I need to do those same kind of circles all the way around, all right? Whatever I do in one area needs to be done in all my other sections. So for instance, if I want to make this outer ring have small circles on it, all right, I'm going to do that all the way around. And I can make smaller circles. And here's one way. You notice I have my little brass ring. It's directly on the line of this outer circle. I have some little holes in this white part. Okay, this time I'm going to hold down the orange, stick my pencil inside one of these holes in that little white spot, and draw around. It makes a much smaller circle. I can continue to do this all the way around, just simply making sure that that brass ring is directly on my line for that outer circle. Trying to keep those circles the best I can, spaced out. Obviously, those were much closer than these, so I'm going to try and keep the rest of them spaced out about the same. And I'm going to come through and keep going. All right, so now that I have all my circles on, the next part is to start adding any details for anything else that I want to do. So I do not have to use only circles in this artwork. The main thing is whatever I do in one area, I do all the way around exactly the same. All right, so for instance, if I want to use this little area right here in this second ring and do a triangle, I'm going to repeat that all the way around my circle, trying my best to keep them as even as possible so that we have that radial symmetry. Remember, same all the way around. If you need to when you're drawing, sometimes it's easier to rotate your paper so that your hand is moving exactly the same each time. Sometimes that makes it easier. But you're going to add details to the rest of your picture. If you want to make larger circles, you can also trace your CD multiple times to make larger circles. And that is another easy way to, again, create those circles, but keep them consistent. All right, so I'm going to decorate mine and then trace it in the Sharpie. So right now I have some in pencil, I have some in Sharpie. We ultimately want everything traced in the Sharpie, all right? All right, so now I have added some lines and some details. The next thing I want you to do is you're going to decorate your CD. So for this, you are only using a Sharpie. We will not be adding color to this portion. This will be our kind of black and white, but I want you, keeping up with that radial symmetry, to design some kind of a pattern coming through that CD. So you can do anything that you're wanting, but again, kind of keep whatever you're doing the same all the way around. So I might start with little circles in the kind of innermost portion of my CD. And then I'm going to do some other design to make a layer in the shiny part of my CD. All right. I also want it to be a little different than what I've done around here. So as you can see, I have triangles here. So I really don't want to keep those triangles. I don't want to do that here. Instead, I think for me, I'm going to do some stripes. And I'm going to do that all the way around, almost like a wheel, like a wagon wheel. All right. So I want you to decorate that CD. All right, so now that we have our mandala design done and we have our middle, our CD completed, we are going to color our mandala. So obviously we are not going to be coloring inside the circle because our last step will be to glue this CD to the center. But everywhere around that middle circle, I want you guys, as neatly as you can, to color your mandala. Remember, we are using radial symmetry. So just like our design, how if we did one thing over here, we repeated it all the way around, you're going to do the same for the colors. So for instance, whatever I use to color in this triangle right here, I'm going to use to color in all of these other triangles. Whatever I use to color in the triangle on the top, I'll use to color in all the other triangles all the way around. Same thing with my circles. All right, so again, as neatly as you can, using whatever colors that you want, you are going to begin coloring your design. Here we go. All right, guys, so we now have our picture completely colored. So notice that there's really nothing white left except for that middle circle. So all we have left is to glue this down. So we're gonna add just a little bit of glue. I'm gonna come by and give you that kind of tacky glue. Now, I just put it right in the center. Obviously, we don't need it in the center, so I'm gonna spread that around on the edges. And we're gonna get that glued down. You wanna hold that in place. All right, and we are finished. That's it. All right, guys, I cannot wait to see yours.